D2C is a risky game, but once you crack the D2C game right, it can be highly profitable. D2C is also a bit tough, but it is a safer bet.
There was a time when brands were about products, when customers bought what. Today, customers are buying how and why.
And the experience.
But the best fiction stories are written on Excel, right?
Sure.
Until you know what reality is, it's all in your mind. You're philosophically having arguments with yourself.
So you built a brand, Dr. Vaidya, and was it like profitable? Hi guys, I am Bharat Gupta and I am the founder of Musclemind. Musclemind is the world's first active leisure brand where we are trying to blend performance with support, style and substance. We are trying to give comfort, innovation and lot of technicalities in the garments which will make the life of the consumers very easy and very comfortable. And with me I have Mr. Arjun Vaidya, who founded Dr. Vaidya, took a good D2C exit, and right now he is building his own firm called as V3 Venture. Thank you Arjun for being here, and I'm sure that this conversation will be full of good insights and this will help a lot of people to gain some good knowledge from this conversation from yours and mine.
Thank you so much, Bharat. Thanks for having me and very excited for the conversation.
Arjun, since I'm also building a brand and I started my journey last year itself, and I've seen that it's not a very easy journey. It's a very strict journey, very hard, full of roller coaster ride, ups and downs, and building a brand is not easy at all. So I just want to know from you that how do you define a good D2C brand?
Tough question, because good is a qualitative term. But if I was to think about the recipes or the qualities of a good D2C brand, if I was to think in my eyes what's a good D2C brand, I think of these few things, right? One, really strong customer love. Customers who become brand ambassadors of the business, come and talk openly and actively about the business and really share their love with other people. And so customers become salespeople of the brand. The second thing I would say is that a good brand truly has some differentiator, some moat. It's got something different from everything else in the market, so that even though competitors may come in, even though competitors may copy, there's a reason that customers still stick to that brand, right? So if you think of any product that's become successful, especially in our country where there's perfect competition, think of Bisleri, for example, right? The amount of times that I have seen Bilseri, Bilesri and products with the same green colored packaging, same branding, Bisleri still exists and still is the number one brand in the market and still is ubiquitous with water, right? When you think of packaging, what do you think of Bisleri? So they've built some differentiation in brand that keeps customers loyal. The third thing I would say is a good brand for me is something that consistently is growing and innovating. If you look at any brand that survived, and brands should survive longer than our lives as well, right?
Sure.
A brand is truly a legacy. So I hope that Dr. Vaidya lives well after I've passed and well after I've sold the business as well. If you think of any of these brands, they have to adopt and be open to adopt with the market, innovate, change their packaging, change their branding, improve their product. See, if you stay stuck on a product, if you stay stuck on your quality, if you stay stuck on an approach, you will eventually lose out. And I'll give you examples. BlackBerry. In 2009-10, when I went to university in the US, I could not live without my BlackBerry. 2013, before I came back, I'd switched to iPhone.
Is it because of the BBM pin that was so famous back in the days?
BBM was like our life, right?
Yes,
and
yes.
it was literally like where I would do all my communication. And if someone didn't have a BlackBerry, I'm like, oh, you don't have a BlackBerry? Like, I can't talk to you. In 3 or 4 years, BlackBerry was dead. Completely dead.
Completely, yes.
If you look Kodak, for example, right? With the move towards digital cameras and the lack of requirement for a photographic film, the company died, right? And Kodak was synonymous with photography as a company. The company died. So I think companies have to truly innovate to find their relevance in a very rapidly evolving world. Because think about it, in the last 10 years, there are 7 new versions of iPhone. Think about an iPhone 7 versions ago and an iPhone today. That's how much change we are seeing in our world.
So thank you, Arjun. That was a very detailed answer what you gave. So just to sum it up of like what you said, so there are the three key things which you should keep in mind while building a brand and to make it successful. Number one is customer centricity. Number two is the unique selling proposition, and number three is the innovation. And when you talk about the customer centricity, that you always have to keep customer at the base. You have to understand what they want and what are their pain areas. And voice of customers, it is like the most important thing.
Built. Correct.
And the second thing is the unique selling proposition. That what things you're trying to create, what products you're trying to create that are unique and that are solving the problems of the consumers. That's highly important, and you mentioned it correctly as well. Number three is the innovation, that how you are ahead of the curve and how you are building or providing something. It can be in a term of product or service that nobody else in the world knows it the best apart from you and your brand.
There was a time, maybe when we were growing up, when brands were about products, when customers bought what. Today, customers are buying how and why.
And the experience.
And if you look at the developed world, people are now buying or not buying brands based on the founder's beliefs as well, right? Like when I used to think of our brand, Dr. Vaidya's, I would think that the moment someone opens that bottle, it's not just a pill or a capsule or oil or liquid or syrup they're consuming. They're consuming a part of history, a part of our culture, a part of our modernized legacy. Every time they have that product, they'll remember my grandfather and what he had created. And so if you think of any brands that we consume, right? Let's talk about brands that we like a lot, right? Let's talk about
Apple.
Let's talk about Apple. Every time you buy an iPhone, the box opens with a particular bounce that gives you a specific feeling. They have tried that bounce 3,000 plus times to get it right. And so you may spend 1 lakh rupees on an iPhone, but when you unbox that iPhone and you open that box, you get that feeling of, oh wow, I'm getting something really sexy and it's worth it, right? You take off that plastic in the particular way and the phone feels new and you feel like you've bought something of value.
Few brands that come in my mind are like Coca-Cola, McDonald's. They both sell happiness. If we talk about Red Bull, they sell energy. It can make you fly when you consume it.
Correct.
And if we talk about Apple, it sells innovation. If you have an iPhone, it's highly amazing and an innovative product. And nobody else in the world can manufacture such innovative product.
Understanding that a customer is not just buying a product, they're buying into a vision, they're buying into a dream, and they're buying into some community, right? And when they're part of the community, they feel a part of something. Oh, I'm an Apple iPhone owner. Oh, I'm a Mercedes owner. Oh, I'm a Mokobara bag owner.
It's a sense of pride.
It's a sense of pride, a sense of belonging, a sense of community. And every product, when consumed, should give a customer not just a utility, but a feeling. And brands that are successful at being able to give that feeling are brands that will last for generations, that will create legacy, and that will really, really build that sort of level of loyalty, retention, and word of mouth among customers.
I mean, having that key objective, experience and outcome clearly in your mind can definitely make your brand recall very high, and it can create a great buzz in the market. And that sort of buzz that people will be willing to pay the premium price for it. And like for Musclemind, we want people to feel confident, comfortable and versatile.
Across the board, all the products, the luggage we carry, the headphones we use, the food we eat, the personal care products we use, the health supplements we use, the clothes we wear, everything has certain things that we have to consume that are mundane and certain things that truly feel like brands and experiences.
One thing I see about the brands you mentioned is the way these brands are telling stories and connecting with the consumers. It can be in the form of product or even in the form of packaging. And this is the main part of an experience for building a D2C brand.
Packaging is not good, the customer may not pick up your product. I think what I'm interested and excited to see now with brands is to own the post-purchase journey as well. So packaging is what attracts the customer. The product is what engages the customer. The post-purchase journey, the way you deal with negative feedback, the way you re-engage with the customer, the way you manage the warranty, the guarantee, the defects, the reorder call, the feedback call of the customer. Let's talk about an Indian company, right? So I bought lenses for my wife about 2.5 years ago on Lenskart when she used to go to the optician close to our office and buy lenses. And I was just like, we're digital first consumers, run an e-commerce business. Why are you going to the optician? And so I bought lenses for her on Lenskart. Now, the 3-month value of those one-day lenses is somewhere between 7 and 8,000 rupees, depending on the discount, right? So let's assume it's like 2,500 rupees a month. It's been 30 months that I've been buying from Lenskart. And so whether Lenskart spent 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 rupees to acquire me as a customer, that loyalty is so much that they will make infinite money of me. Because once I'm used to buying the lenses, it has my data fed in of what my wife's power is on each eye, all of that stuff. It's such a seamless experience that I have bought from there 10 times into 3 months. And so really the secret sauce of D2C businesses and the power of D2C business is bringing customers back.
So customer retention is the key.
Absolutely.
I believe that if you're able to retain your customers, you have already won the half battle. And then you can, your profitability can really be very high if the customer retention is very, very high.
And I think that, like, if you look at the economics, right, like as D2C investors, founders, we love to talk about this term called unit economics. And what is unit economics? Unit economics is the per order economics, or the amount of money you make or lose per order. Now, even if you lose money when you acquire the customer the first time, the second time, third time, fourth time you acquire a customer, the acquisition cost is only the WhatsApp, email, SMS, and phone call you make them, which is much less than the cost of acquiring a customer on Facebook and Google. And so even if you lose money on the first order, but you're confident of repeats, and the second, third, fourth, fifth order you can make money, you actually build a good business.
So Arjun, tell me one thing, that what are the 3 key parameters which will make a business profitable? Because I've seen many brands are built, but if you see the bottom line, it is completely in deep losses. So what makes a brand profitable?
See, I think the biggest cost for brands that leads to loss is customer acquisition cost. Is going through this rabbit hole of Facebook and Google and YouTube and Instagram and investing in performance marketing like everybody else. Now, you can't do it without it either, right? If you're building a digitally native, digitally first brand. And so you've got to find a moat, a way to differentiate your brand as compared to the rest, content, community, so that your performance marketing looks better. So at the end of the day, the term I'm talking about is ROAS, return on ad spend. For every rupee you spend, you should get at least 2, 3, 4 rupees in sales. If it's below that, it becomes very difficult to make profit, because after your cost of goods, if you're making less than 2 times on your ads, you will lose money per order.
What is the sweet spot when you talk about the ROAS? Should it be 1:2 or 1:4 or 1:6 when you talk about the profitability part?
Yeah, I think honestly, any ROAS above 2
It's good.
is good, but otherwise 2 should be the bare minimum, below which I think it's very difficult to make profit in a D2C brand.
Great. So Arjun, there is one more thing which I would like to talk about, that I have met so many people and they don't know the exact difference between a B2C brand and a D2C brand. By theory, we all know D2C mean direct to consumers, B2C is business to consumers. But there's a thin line between the two which sort of differentiates both of them.
Correct.
What I have seen that, D2C is a risky game, but once you crack the D2C game, right, it can be highly profitable. B2C is also a bit tough, but it is a safer bet.
Let's talk about offline distribution first, right? So how does offline distribution work? There is a brand who's usually a manufacturer. They then give these products to a super stockist or a clearing and forwarding agent, who then delivers the product to a distributor, who then delivers the product to a wholesaler or retailer, and then the customer buys from a wholesaler or retailer. Now, there are at least 3 steps between the brand or manufacturer and the end customer. What D2C says is, we are reducing all of these middlemen, and the brand, the founder, the manufacturer is going direct to customer. Usually to enable this, you have to use digital channels like website, marketplaces, etc. All of that, where
Sure.
in marketplace there's one middleman, but directly the seller is the brand, etc. All of that. And so what it enables is the customer to write a DM on Instagram and the brand to be able to respond. What it enables is the customer to be able to order and give the grievances directly to the brand. What it enables is a brand to be able to communicate to all their customers about new launch, right? So D2C is something where the middlemen are cut out. The brand and the customer have a closer relationship, and the customer feels more connected with the brand as well.
It is the middleman which makes the entire difference here. So you built a brand, Dr. Vaidya, and was it like profitable?
Dr. Vaidya's was operationally profitable,
Okay.
but our fixed costs were something that we didn't.
So can I put it this way, that you sold the company based on valuation?
You could put it that way,
See,
honestly.
what I've heard that profitability is not one of the main criteria which people look at when selling off their brand.
I think there was a different time. In 2021, 2022, there was an era of a lot of capital, a lot of funding, a lot of interest, excitement towards the space, and a lot of valuations and things happened of that time which are not happening today. Uh, I was fortunate to be able to work in that time, sell my business in that time. But today, I think profit is paramount. And even as an investor, the next 5 businesses I'm investing in, which are early stage, are all profitable.
The journey of building a brand is not easy at all. It takes a lot of hard work. It's a roller coaster ride full of ups and downs. You have a good days, bad days, and selling off a brand which you have started from the scratch, which is your own baby, it's not easy. So there are two things which I want to know from you. Number one, when did that intent came in your mind that you need to sell this off and why? And number two, that exact emotion you felt when you sold off your brand.
See, I think the intent to sell the brand was never there. You get an offer, you evaluate the offer, you assess the pros and cons, and then you decide. I was maybe the first time I thought about selling my brand, I said, no way I'm going to sell this. But then, as an individual, I've had the good fortune of working in private equity and finance before I started my first job. When I worked in private equity and finance, I realized there's a difference or a dissociation between management and shareholding. I was the management of the company, I was the CEO of the company. But my family all held shares in the company. My mom, dad, brother, and me held shares. At that time, the company was doing very well online. But the next leg of growth for the business was offline. If I wanted to maximize shareholding for my family and maximize value of shares held by my family, I was the wrong person to take it offline because I failed miserably offline. And so, for the honest, humble way that I wanted the brand to grow and I wanted the brand to grow in the right way and I was not the right person to grow the brand going forward from there, that's the reason we eventually decided to sell. Was it easy? No. Just imagine telling your team that we built this together. It's amazing. You guys did a great job. The brand is growing very well. By the way, tomorrow I'm not going to be there, but you guys will still be there if you want to be there.
And you knew that this would be scalable.
I knew it would be scalable, but I think there are lots of emotions that go on with it, right? Like,
Lot of emotions.
I spend 95% of my day thinking about one thing, then it's gone from my life. I lose a sense of purpose that I was doing this every day and now I don't have it anymore. I lose the ability to work with this awesome team that we nurtured, we built, we grew. I lose the identity of being the founder of Dr. Vaidya's or the CEO of Dr. Vaidya's. Founder of Dr. Vaidya's I'll always be, but the CEO of Dr. Vaidya's, I don't have that identity
It's gone.
anymore.
It's gone. Yeah.
When I see the products now, I'm not directly related to the products, right? The feeling when I was selling the company was mixed emotions, bittersweet. I'm selling, it's a great outcome. At 29 years old, I'm being able to get all this outcome. Fantastic, right? But I'm letting go of something that was really important to me. But when I eventually did complete the sale and everything was complete, it was just a feeling of zen and calm. Like, we've gone through this process, it's complete. And now I'm like free. Not free in a bad way that, oh, I'm free from the chains of this, but I'm completely blank slate. My dad said something to me at that time. He said, I've worked for 35 plus years. I've never had a blank slate in any of those 35 plus years. You're given a blank slate at 29. Very few people in their life get to see this blank slate and restart, use this time well and come up with something better.
All the founders who have sold their companies or their brands. So what's the exact reason for it? So there can be two. Number one, because of the monetary benefit that they are earning a lot of money through it. And number two can be that they have reached a saturation point and they need to sell off their brand to a very big firm because they know that it is highly scalable and a lot of top talent might be required to scale that up, which would require a lot of money. So, I mean, what is the main reason why people sell off their brands? Number three, it also can be that, there are like founders like you who sold off a brand and at the same time you started something new. When selling off your brand, do you sort of evaluate other brands that which is the booming industry and which would lead to greater ROI?
In NCR, all founders sell their brands to buy a house in Camellias.
So monetary terms.
I'm kidding. Look, every person has their own reason. When I've got this question hundreds of times now, why did you sell your business? I had my reasons why I sold my business, but if you were in my place, you may not have taken the same decision. And so the first thing to understand about selling a business is a very personal decision. It could be exhaustion. It could be saturation. It could be burnout. It could be monetary benefit. It could be, hey, from here, I'm not the right person to take this brand forward. It could be my business is not doing well. I can't run it anymore. It could be I'm not the right person to run this any longer. It could be any of these reasons or more of these reasons. Every acquisition, every M&A activity, and every investment is such a specific, unique scenario that only the two people in the room who are doing the deal, or the groups of people in the room who are doing the deal, because it's never two people usually, are the ones who are able to figure out their reasons to sell and buy. The people buying also have a reason, and their reasons are also very different.
Arjun, out of curiosity, I want to know that when you sell your brand, when you take a D2C exit, what are the key parameters you look at? Is it based on the market size, or is it based on the valuation, or is it based on the profitability? And I just want to know from you that, what's the key things which needs to be considered while selling off your brand?
See, I think it's a cultural thing. Like when I sold my business, I remember people saying कि उसके डैड को पैसे की जरूरत थी इसलिए उसने अपना बिजनेस बेच दिया, right? Now, in the West, people celebrate exits. Here, we don't celebrate exits because it's new. I don't blame
It's a
people
new
for
new
not
trend. It's a
celebrating. It's
new
just
trend.
new. I think the thought process towards exits is changing because see, as an entrepreneur, you put all this effort. Eventually, कुछ तो मिलना चाहिए. आपने 30-35 साल काम किया और खाली साल का थोड़ा बहुत प्रॉफिट जो आता है वो आप री इन्वेस्ट करते हो तो कुछ मिलता ही नहीं है. सो आई थिंक वी शुड सेलिब्रेट एग्जिट्स एज if exits are to be celebrated, we should celebrate them as a culmination of all those years of effort, all that hard work by entrepreneurs. I think this realization is coming, but it'll take time because we've not had enough. Once we have hundreds of exits, then people around you will also have an exit. Then you'll understand why they did it. You'll have that conversation and you'll figure it out.
You took a very successful D2C exit, and now you are building your own venture called as V3 Venture. So, more than the venture, I would like to know what it entails, and number two, I would like to know that where did this drive to start something new came from? I've seen so many founders, they take a D2C exit and then they want to live a very peaceful life. But in your case, you thought of building something again from the scratch and scaling it up. So, where did this drive come from?
ऑनेस्टली जब एग्जिट किया था ना तो मुझे भी पीसफुल लाइफ जीना था. आई सेड अभी 1-2 साल चिल करेंगे. यू हैव दैट ड्रीम ना कि जब मैं कंपनी बिल्ड कर रहा हूँ तो मैं लंबा हॉलीडे नहीं ले सकता हूँ. आई रियली वांट टू गेट बेटर एट स्क्वॉश, तो ऐसे मैं स्क्वॉश खेलूंगा. मैं स्पैनिश मैंने कॉलेज में पढ़ा था तो आई लर्न स्पैनिश अगेन. ऑल ऑफ दोज थिंग्स, राइट? बट 2 महीने के बाद यार ये सब फ्री कैलेंडर से थक जाते हो. लाइक कुछ पर्पस नहीं है, कुछ करना नहीं है. आई वुड लाइक ऑर्गेनाइज डिनर्स विद माई फ्रेंड्स, और क्या करेंगे, यू नो. So I think as an entrepreneur, once you live this life, you just have to, you're used to it, you know, you need to be busy. So तब तो कोई कंपनी नहीं था तो हमें फिगर आउट करना था आगे क्या करना है. तो आई स्टार्टेड एंजॉयिंग एक्चुअली द enabling aspect. What do I mean by enabling? I mean, I started enjoying using capital, time, mentorship to invest in companies and enable the companies. The idea was I built one Dr. Vaidya's and it was a good outcome and we did well. But can I build hundreds of Dr. Vaidya's through my time, effort, energy, and money? And that's what led to eventually making some angel investments and eventually creation of V3 Ventures. And V3 is an early stage consumer focused VC fund. We invest 4 to 30 crore checks, seed to Series A across consumer businesses, from ice cream to cloud kitchens, from regional language content to education, from cakes to health tech, anything consumer facing.
So, Arjun, I want to understand that, what drives you. In my case, it has been the gym. It is because of the gym, which, I have learned the power of consistency, perseverance, showing up each and every single day. It is like a chain reaction that one good habit, it sort of, inculcates many good habits. And if you talk about gymming, if you like exercise, you will eat healthy, you will drink lots of water. And having a good physique is not an overnight process. It takes many, many years to build a good physique. And similarly, this sort of motivates me to replicate this journey of building muscle mind with the same power, with the same motivation, with the same persistence, perseverance, and same consistency.
I think purpose is a bit deeper, and I didn't know the question was so deep. So I'll talk about purpose, right? See, I'm a very patriotic person. I wear this band with the Indian flag on my hand. I've been wearing it for the last 12-13 years now. I think that we're at an inflection point in our Indian economy where we're doing something special. It's like the 90s for the US or colonial Britain, where everything seems to be going right for you. The world is conspiring for your success. And in this time, I feel like we can truly build world-beating Indian brands. And so the purpose is Dr. Vaidya's could have been and is probably a world-beating Indian Ayurveda brand. Can we build hundreds of these that can take India and Indian quality of products and Indian entrepreneurs to the world? That can create tens of, I don't care about unicorn outcome and all those things, can create tens, if not hundreds of valuable businesses. That's what motivates me.
I think having a mentor also really helps you to, kind of grow in like multiple folds. In my case, I have a mentor, and he has, because of the right experience, what he has with the right core values, with the right intent to, help me grow both personally and professionally. It has helped me to change as a person and to take the right calls and not to repeat the mistake that has been made by people in the past. So does having a good mentorship definitely helps, or did you had any mentor back in the days? Or
I did.
late?
My dad was my mentor.
Okay.
See, I made one mistake with mentorship. I told people who I really respected without giving them any skin in the game or reason to mentor me that they should mentor me. For a while they did, then they lost interest because what is in it for them, right? I think you have to pick a mentor who really is invested in you.
Sure.
And who gives you that time. Mentorship is about time, not about money, not about experience. If there's the most experienced guy in the world and he picks up your call once a year, not relevant. And so picking the right people who you gel with, who have the right vibe with you, vibe match, but also who are able to give you the time, right? Who are able to be invested in you, that they'll pick up your call at 2 a.m., at 10 p.m. when you're struggling with something you need an answer quickly. I think entrepreneurship is a very lonely journey. And having a guide, mentor, advisor, friend with you is a great thing.
Because in my case, my mentor sort of comes once or twice a month, sort of discuss my entire month's journey with him. And that gives me a good level of clarity of what I need to do next for the upcoming months. And apart from that, Arjun, can you just talk about some of the personality traits every entrepreneur should have to create a good D2C brand? Because see, apart from motivation, consistency, these are fine. In terms of three key things that is required to build a good, successful, profitable D2C brand.
Yeah, I'll talk about three character traits. I think the first most important for any entrepreneur, forget D2C, is grit and resilience. Every journey is a roller coaster. Every journey will have ups and downs. And so you got to fight the hardest when your back is against the wall and not give up. And so I think grit and resilience is very important. The second thing I would say is right to win. You got to figure out what your right to win is in that category, because India is a big country. Well, it's a big market. There's lots of competition. And the third thing I would say is brands are all about storytelling. And so either you got to tell the story yourself and be the face of your brand yourself, or figure out how you can enable your team, your marketing team, your brand story to tell the story. But telling that story to the customer is the most crucial thing.
I also believe that digital marketing may, the way you market your product also has a very big impact for like storytelling. I mean, you have to make sure that your product shoots are done in a way that there is a story attached to it. And apart from that, you should also invest a lot on your website. It shouldn't be any XYZ website where you just go, you can choose the product and buy it. Your website should tell an experience, a story behind every product, every page, so that consumers, they are, they resonate with your products, they resonate with your website so much that at the end of the day, they will end up buying the product just to sort of feel the experience, what you're trying to bring on board.
See, for a digital brand, it's digital marketing. Digital marketing can include performance marketing and content marketing. But for a digital first brand, cracking that stack is paramount. It's most important, more important than anything else in the world.
Earlier, back in the days, digital marketing was very fresh. You have to spend less money on influencer marketing, performance marketing, digital marketing as a whole. But now the trends have changed. Now everybody is spending so much on all of these parameters, be it influencer marketing, PR, digital marketing, performance marketing. So with this trend, which is, very volatile and changing rapidly, how can someone build a successful D2C brand?
I think the market is much more competitive than it was 5 years ago.
For sure, yes.
And so in this market, you've got to do three things, right? The first thing is establish customer trust. Customers are saying that there are so many brands. Why should I choose you? Is it a product differentiation? Is it customer testimonials? Is it word of mouth? What it is to make a customer choose your brand and trust your brand over everything else is crucial. The second thing is that you've got to give a customer a really sexy experience, right? An ordering experience, a delivery experience, an unboxing experience, a post-sale experience. All of these things, the order can take 14 days to reach. If it's taking 14 days to reach, the customer hates your brand already, right? I bought a product on a sports website. It's 16 days not reached me yet. Even when it reaches me now, I don't care. How can you take 16 days to reach me? So the customer is spoiled now with quick commerce. So the experience of delivery, the experience of everything else outside just the product has to be beautiful. And the third thing is, look, customers are not doing the what, they're doing the how and why now. And so that feeling, that emotion, that positivity, that endorphin secretion when they buy the product, open the product, that has to be there. So they're actually buying into a vision, a community, and a purpose rather than just a product.
If somebody wants to do a startup right now, you said there are three things he should consider. Number one is storytelling, innovation, and customer centricity. But right now we are at a space that, a lot of booming industries are coming up. And what are those industries as per you?
For me, I would say that India is a massive opportunity, right? But there is lots of competition, as I said. So if you want to build a bootstrapped 100 crore D2C business, go to fashion. The market is just so deep, it surprises me every time. There are so many niches: women's western, women's ethnic, men's western, sports, fitness, kids. So I think fashion is a massive market, but it's not a very easy market to raise venture capital. If you want to build a VC funded business, I would say four spaces. Personal care, massive market, but very competitive. So find some niche. Is it hair color? Is it personal care for teens? Is it personal care for seniors? What's that niche? Health and wellness, unique products. Something that has a unique R&D, uniqueness. It's not a Me Too product. There's still lots to be done in supplements in India. We've just started our journey on preventive supplements. Home and kitchen, I just bought a new home and I moved into a new home. Tried to buy D2C brands. Lots of space in kitchen appliances, home decor, etc. And the fourth one, which I think is up and coming, is pets. I think there's a massive, like you have a pet as well. There's a massive behavior change towards humanization of pets. We're moving towards the way the West moved. And so there need to be more local indigenous brands for pets.
Thank you so much, Arjun, for your time. This was clearly a very informative and a very insightful podcast which we talked about. And I'm sure that, the amount of in-depth knowledge we shared and you shared out of your experience will help the listeners to grab some good points and some good insiders from it. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you, brother.